2:14.
I'm not very sure. Why do I do it so many times?
Please rise for the half cottage, page 217. Amen.
You're gonna get voluntold. You just not operate. Classic rabbi. Classic rabbi love
Right. Please rise if you are comfortable with Page 221. The half hour. Page 223 through 229.
You're in personal prayer, please continue. We meet on page 223.
Amen. Baruch atah Avorech Shabbat.
Sitchatka. 2:30. I say 230. Amen. The red shirts are coming up to lead us up to 231. It's a football group. Not Star Trek. No, those are the red coats. Also not Star Trek. We have been observing urine sites of Stanley Barkus, Louis Gingle, Jade Kansas, Brad Lawson, Barbara Mencher, Neil Nodman, and Cindy Doherty. And tonight, David Bruce, David Levy, Frankie Levy, and Zelda Newman. Corner's So we are, we now have about 40 minutes, give or take a smidge, until it is time for Mari, the evening service. So if there was a bar mitzvah this weekend, or a bat mitzvah, so like say next week, this is where there would be additional prayers and speeches and so on. But instead what's going to happen is Rabbi Bright is going to do some learning and leftovers, and then we will be at about 6:20, give or take a couple of minutes. Maybe a little bit earlier for Mari, the evening stuff. So if you'd like to stick around, and last week The truckers actually did a big mitzvah because we actually ended up meeting Minyan for Mariv, and by staying, they made a cottage. So welcome to the world of making a difference. All right, it is customary in the winter months to read one of the Psalms of Ascent. You can find those on page 288. Please read with me responsibly. Page 288. A song of ascent, I lift my eyes to the mountains from where will my help come. The promise from on high, creator of heaven and earth. God will not leave you stumble, your guardian never slumbers. The guardian of his neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian, your shelter at your side, by day the sun nor harm you nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard your going out to return home now and forever. Please rise to support those who are sitting mourners in cottage. Yikadal, Yikadash, Yoraba, Yaman, Yorab, Yaman, Kayimon, Yamikon, Kayim, Kobe, Israel, Yaman, Karim, Rame, Yesh, Neraba, Bora, Nebam, Yamaya, Yikara, Yishabak, Yikar, Yinamam, Yisase, Yisadar, 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 Shab, the Ela, Miko, Mirkata, Shirata, Vishkata, Venetamata, Davira, Mehala, Virame, Yehesh, Lamar, Rabbi, Shmaya, Bethayim, Vinu, Yakol, Yisrael, Virame, Oseh, Shalom, Yirama, Yaseh, Shalom, Amen, Yakol, Yisrael, Thank you, everyone. Snacks?
If you're trying to suss out whether you want snacks or not, don't be guilted that we need your opinion because there are people coming. But if you would like to learn what did Jacob learn, that's what we're going to talk about.
Or if you want to see what Havdalah was.
How did Jacob learn? Did Jacob learn his dad better than Isaac was a dad? I'm not sure. I never believe.
Joseph learned the 45th.
Yes.
45th, steak pits.
He only ate seedless fruit for the rest of his life. But,
I thought that's what you're asking.
yeah, I said Jacob. I said Jacob. No, he said Joseph. Oh, wow.
Hey.
Still didn't have enough. Blood, rabbit, don't be guilted by him permitting you to have children.
She also was practicing. You have to know how tough the stores are.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to, learning with me is fun. I'm fun, and it's good, and I'm gonna not turn that around. Someone's on it. If we're learning, you'll need a chumash, maybe even two interests. We're going to jump text. Not here.
No.
Sephora is a
What is it?
Sephora,
Sephora?
but it's cute. Sephora is like a store in a mall.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. But they have it's freezing. Flash, red or blue? I imagine it's weird, and then you're all coming back in here at 6:20. So I probably started
We ever stop?
learning, but maybe this. Would you like to learn some of snacks?
I think we can. That was from Hilla did it from far right. It was either when he fell in during the snowstorm from above. He did it, not our above. The sage.
Our rabbi.
The sage wasn't he even a poor person? or was it somebody else? Rabbi Akiva.
No, I like
Akiva.
it. It's hard
There's
to
a
work.
poor unlearned person who was trying to listen to the good question. He studied whatever that learning a language quickly. Yeah. Whatever this is.
Many languages. Because he doesn't know how to speak many languages.
They're doing like a learning. Hi, hey.
And if you want Chelsea, yes, the mitzvah is the third Shabbos meal, so it's lunch today.
It's coming.
Oh, I'm opening them.
She thought it was, I said, no, it's at 6.
I'm gonna eat. No, none over there.
Because.
Yeah, okay, so if you have to leave at 6 because you have a special Havdalah, you can just get up, I won't mind, that's fine. You just
Yeah,
get
that's
up.
fine, you'll just, you'll say,
And then we'll
you'll
just
cry
stop
in
learning
your
and we'll
car.
eat snacks, I don't know what we'll do, it's fine. This whole, most of this room is gonna get up at 6. This is a rabbi Okay. Come learn.
Hello.
Hello.
What are you gonna teach us?
What did Jacob learn? We're going to juxtapose, which now is the word I'm saying for fun, meaning put side by side and compare, when Isaac blesses his children versus when Jacob blesses his children. So the conceit sort of underlying what I'm doing is a belief, an assumption that in families, patterns pass from generation to generation. What the way your parents parented you perhaps influence the way you parent your children. Not at all, as I said, children's. There is maybe something that you learn, and maybe you feel a bit of a small victory if there's perhaps a way that you were parented that was not productive for you, that you managed to not use while parenting your children. And maybe some of us have done that, maybe some of us have completely replicated our parental strategies and parenting from others. Maybe what I said is too mumbo jumbo, but we're still doing it anyway. Which is to look at Isaac's death and blessing of his children in its chaos, meaning, as you might remember, Isaac intends to bless Esau and ends up blessing Jacob, and then look at the same spot of Jacob, his son's life, as he goes to bless Joseph and his sons Ephraim and Manasseh. We're going to compare and contrast these two blessing moments to come up with some gems for what looks different between the two of them, how that might be, what happened in Jacob's life, and what we might learn about Jacob and also about ourselves in ways that we want to live in the world and maybe also benefit from Jacob's blessings. That's a tall order for some sort of amorphous amount of time before we are disappearing to a Havdalah. Are you in or are you out?
Yes.
So I said that you can have whichever Chumash you please, which may be confusing because I actually didn't write down the page number for the blue one, but it's an apt challenge. And that is also because there are different translations, and frequently a different English word is a different interpretation of the Hebrew, which gives you a different insight into what is being said. Okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm the only one eating, which makes me sad, so if you would like a snack, please get a snack. You can get up while I'm talking and get a snack. The first thing we're going to do is look at death and blessing of his children, which is Genesis 27, which in this red book, I believe you're not even able to read now. I'm reading is 150. So you want to double check that before you get too excited. You don't want the Chumash, I was studying for this opinion. With your knowledge of Torah in your mind.
27 what?
27:1.
So that's 135.
Sure.
Would you like to share one?
You're the only one with the blue. Oh, no, okay, yes, that helped me out. 135. And in the red book, it's 153. So if you come study with me on Saturday morning when we do coffee and commentary, the vibe is a little bit similar, meaning there's no wrong answer, and I'm delighted for you to disagree with my interpretation. But the general structure is we're going to read this passage, pull out some interesting things, and then remember it as we read the next passage. All right, so I'm on 27:1, and I will read through a little bit in English. When Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, he called his older son Esau and said to him, "My son." He answered, "Here I am." And he said, "I am old now, and I do not know how soon I may die. Take your gear, your quiver and bow, and go out into the open and hunt me some game. Then prepare a dish for me such as I like, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my innermost blessing before I die." Okay, so we're going to hold on to this one because the parsha that we just read in our Torah service is going to be this same part of Jacob's life when he is old, about to die, and his sons come to him for a blessing. So we're just going to pull out a couple things so that they stick with us in our memory. The very first sentence: when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see. So we have this beginning part where he is blind. It's foreshadowing, if you know the story, he's not going to be able to see which son he is blessing. But there is a nice piece of rabbinic commentary here, what is happening, that it says, "Ki zaken Yitzchak v'chien anav," which means because Isaac was old and his eyes were weak. So you might look at this and say, why is he blessing his sons? It's because he notices his body is starting to fail. So he's unable to see. First he goes blind, as we get this information, his eyes are weak, he's old, and then he blesses his sons. Okay, what else happens in here? We're going to keep reading. Let's skip ahead. I'll just give you a summary because we don't have all the time in the world. Basically, Rebecca's eavesdropping. She hears this instruction to Esau. She sneaks in Jacob to put on fuzzy skin and pretend to be Esau. Okay, now we're on verse 18. So that is on 155 at the bottom, 27:8. He went to his father and said, "Father." And he said, "Yes, which of my sons are you?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Pray, sit up, eat of my game, that you may give me your innermost blessing." Isaac said to his son, "How did you succeed so quickly, my son?" And he said, "Because the Lord your God granted me good fortune." Isaac said to Jacob, "Come closer, that I may feel you, my son, whether you're really my son Esau or not." So Jacob drew close to his father Isaac, who felt and wondered, the voice of Jacob, in the hands of Esau. He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau, and so he blessed him. He asked, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he said, "I am." He said, "Serve me and let me eat of my son's game, that I may give you my innermost blessing." So he served him and he ate, and he brought him wine and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come close and kiss me, my son." And he went up and kissed him. And he smelled his clothes and he blessed him, saying, "Ah, the smell of my son is the smell of the field that the Lord has blessed." And then we get the blessing. Okay, so I want to pull out things. You're going to have to keep them in your mind. And it's Shabbat, we're not writing, so you're just juggling them. But so far we have this thing that first Isaac goes blind, then he blesses his son. He picks one son. If you remember back to what I just read, he gives him a task. He says, "Go do this thing for me, and then I will bless you. Go hunt and bring me meat." And then instead he ends up with Jacob. Jacob comes to him. He says, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm Jacob." And then he drinks, eats, kisses his son, and then offers him one particular blessing intended for the son Esau, given to the son Jacob. Okay, anything else about this that you feel sticks out? Something about this story when you're retelling it? What is happening at the end of Isaac's life? What is his death and his blessing of his son look like? These are the main points so far. All right, so now we're going to skip it. We are going to go to Genesis 47:28. Page 293 in here, 47:28. Now we're getting to what we've actually read. But hopefully having that other story in the back of your mind will make this richer when we read it. Alright. Now we're on Parshas Vayikra, what we just read in the service. Jacob lived 17 years in the land of Egypt, so the span of Jacob's life came to 147 years. And when the time approached for Israel to die, he summoned his son Joseph and said to him, "Do me this favor. Place your hand under my thigh as a pledge of your steadfast loyalty. Please do not bury me in Egypt. When I lie down with my fathers, take me up from Egypt and bury me in their burial grounds." He replied, "I will do as you have spoken." And he said, "Swear to me." And he swore to him. Then Israel bowed at the head of the bed. Okay, so you gotta have your working memory churning, but now we've seen this is Jacob's step. What is similar or different? Gives him a task. That is similar or different? Similar, okay, well so far, the way you said it, great. So, okay. So we have a similar thing. He's about to die, he gives him a task. Okay, so what else? What about the task? Compare and contrast, or juxtapose. What is similar or different strikes you about these two stories?
One's about food, and one's about being buried.
Okay, great. What does that seem to mean to you?
One's about living, one's about dying.
Okay, ooh, that's nice. That's a great way for Al to expand on that. Okay.
The here and now, as we say, present and not future.
Got it. Okay, so you're sort of taking a similar line here, and I like it. So one's about food, and one's about burial. Maybe one is about living and dying. The one request is, depending on how you want to take this, you could say, oh, maybe Isaac was still focused on his life, not on his death and his legacy. He wanted some immediate fulfillment of the here and now of eating something delicious. And Jacob, maybe you could say, is focused more on the afterlife, on his burial, on his death. Now, if you're going to frame this in the way I framed it, and again, I said at the very beginning, I love for you to disagree with me. You can be like, no, that's not it. I see something different. Or you can be like, well, Rabbi, the genius, everything she said offhand. Maybe one thing Jacob learned from his experience of his father's death isn't to focus on the here and now of these worldly desires. I want a delicious meat. This is the kid I like more. But more looking at his legacy, his afterlife. Where will he be buried? What will happen to his family? So you could say, oh my God, Jacob has developed this new way of thinking about his legacy and the process of death. Not so immediate, not about his sensory needs getting something delicious.
Isaac doesn't have to worry about where he's going to be buried.
Okay, good counterpoint. You could say, well, they're just in different situations. Isaac didn't have to be worried about being buried in Egypt because Isaac wasn't in Egypt. In fact, Isaac is not allowed by God, so to say, to ever leave Canaan. Is it 6? Oh, we didn't even get very far.
Excuse. Excuse us.
Yes. So this will be our one learning. Whoever doesn't go to Donor Abdallah can have more learning. But you could say, oh, they weren't in the same situation because Jacob is in Egypt and wants to go back to Israel, but Isaac was never in Egypt, so it's not a fair point. They were in a different situation. Okay, I'll give you 2 more things you can think about. Not only is the request different, and then you can leave. The way the request is made is totally different. Isaac says to Esau, go do this thing, bring me meat, and then I will bless you. But if you look at the text, Jacob doesn't talk to his children like that. He says, do me this favor. Place your hand under my thigh as a pledge of loyalty. Please do not bury me in Egypt. So there's much more relationship building with him and his child. It's not just like, hey, get me meat, and then I'll give you what you want. Sort of like, hand me my phone, and then you can watch more TV. You might have like transactional parenting. Here he's saying, look, I need your help. Do me this favor. Make a promise with me. Please do not do this to me. There's much more focus in the text in this second item that we're juxtaposing on the relationship, the promise, the sense of loyalty, what he owes his father, but also respect from father to son, knowing that this is sort of out of his hands. Please do this for me. Make me a promise. And so then when Joseph says to Jacob, I will do as you have spoken, even that is not enough. And here I'll leave you with this somewhat sad lesson perhaps, but also a good one from Jacob's life. Jacob does not assume that what he wants to happen will happen. Isaac, you might say, assumed that what he wanted to happen would happen. He thought his son was going to come back with meat, he was going to bless his favorite son with his favorite blessing, all good, no problem, whatever. Jacob is a little bit more world weary. So now not only is he maybe focusing on his legacy and also building a relationship with his child to make a mutual deal, maybe he also recognizes that in life things go awry. And so he has this insistent last line here on this page or in this part I read, which says, swear to me. Don't just say, yeah, Dad, I'm going to do it, but you really have to be obligated to me in this promise, because I know that people's promises go sideways. My father-in-law freaked out and gave me his wrong daughter. My wife maybe conspired with her sister to get both of us to marry me. I've had all kinds of mishaps in my life. I know that if I really want to get something done, I have to really make the person swear and have them be indebted to me from their own sense of honor, or I can't trust that it will happen. So there you go. That was a very short lesson for those who are going to Gunnar Down. 3 things that maybe Jacob learned you can find in trust. Brought to you.
Thank you.
You might be my only learners. Are you going to Gunnar Down? Yes. Okay, so that's where they're going now. So I'm not even. Yes, that's it. They're having snacks. There's cheese. You could just come eat some cheese.
I'm donated.
Oh, there you go. Go eat some cheese. You could donate some cheese. What do you think so far, Karen? The jar and dot is, I believe, in the social hall.
They have a table set up right in the front here, and I think they're checking people in.
Thank you. Water. Have you ever studied Torah like that? Ooh. What was the class? You said I remember? Yeah. Was there an inflatable Hanukkah dinosaur?
It was there this year too. She had some again this year.
He inspired me. I've been wanting to buy a long inflatable Hanukkah thing for my lawn. I never had a lawn before.
It's not your parents.
My dad.
Your dad.
Your grandma has inflatables?
Well, she like sold her house and some of the company that she I think she like
What's your opposition to Hanukkah inflatables? You think it's tacky or you think it's dangerous?
I'm gonna say what I think.
Okay, I like this.
He thinks,
You can give percentage accuracy.
that it is something that other religions do. Why are we doing it?
But it's so fun.
And he also, I think, because growing up in Roanoke, like when I met Jason, he's like, what are you talking about? I tell everybody I'm Jewish. I'm from Philly.
Yeah.
So I think that also has something to do with it. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah,
We have one-
there's a third one. We usually do a pretty poor job of decorating the yard. It usually looks like,
She's saying we got good things. Yeah, we got good
we don't
things.
spend any effort.
On Halloween, if you would let us get the big inflatables and stuff, our yard would look a
Here, all sitting right here. Here.
So it sounds like you're saying inflatables don't look good, / your lawn isn't inflatable ready.
He's saying that
Don't draw attention to the house as a Jewish house, which I've definitely thought about. Even though I'm from New York or everyone's Jewish, I think it's still really embedded in me.
We're also in the
he's also part of
We're in the South, but I actually think this is ancestral, not to be too weird about it. The families, Reform Jews originally from Germany, their whole MO was blend, don't bother.
So that's something that Jason doesn't understand because that's how I was raised. Because the same thing. We're
Yeah.
German, blend.
Blend, don't bother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't bother people, look, yeah. Jews
Yeah.
should be like, maybe seen, not heard. But that was a big impetus behind the reform movement in Germany was, we're gonna look like the Protestants in Germany, we're gonna have an organ, we're gonna have a church, we're gonna have a preacher speaking in English, we're not gonna wear yarmulkes, we're not gonna tell you code, so that, I think, is like an old thing.
So that's how my parents were raised.
Yeah.
And that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
So, and Jason, I don't think you ever heard of that view
No?
until he met me.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
So he was very shocked about how my family did things.
So it still happens that those people are all gonna come in from RE, but, this is not every weekend, this is a special weekend. Usually people don't stay for shell shifts, we don't do Mari unless it's 5. Sometimes it's like me and Sam and Hirsch, and then I'm like, all right, we're done. We let her,
We're calling it.
we came, we saw, we found her, yeah. And it's good, it's good, it's good. Yeah, this is a big, my mom will not admit that she said this, and I was too young to record it. But she did used to say to me that because my name is German Jews, and I'm like sort of blind, and she was like, so you're so lucky to get in the house.
You could, that, my
That was
parents
huge
said the same exact thing.
yeah.
Yes. Like colored eyes, like colored, like, I'm Grandma's little.
Yeah.
This one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pass.
And that wedge, like deep in my soul, is something very important not to lose, which is sort of weird and like hard to reconcile with my current identity.
I think we were raised in very similar ways.
Yeah.
When it
It's
comes to
Philly, my mom's from Philly. So.
Where's she from? Really?
My parents met in high school in Cheltenham.
Okay, so my dad went to Atkinson, and my mom went to Cheltenham.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my mom's probably much older than your mom.
My parents are 72.
It's not 79. She's born in 50.
My parents are born in 52. My parents are 152. Yeah.
Yeah, mine were born in 50.
Yeah, so they might.
Yeah.
My parents were nerds. I mean, not nerds. They were like smart and
Where did they go overnight camp?
I don't think they did go overnight.
But they probably, if you asked them, they would probably remember my grandfather's real estate company.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it was called Land and Bucks Farm.
Land and Buckstown?
Yeah.
See if I can remember that.
My grandmother created me.
Land and Buckstown. Yeah.
We're thinking of that. Growing up, I went to KI. Okay.
I don't know that they did.
Okay.
They were definitely reformed.
Yeah, we were very.
So they never talked about it. I don't know. My mom grew up on Lancaster Road. I feel like that they did here as a kid.
I'll have to, yes, talk to my mom.
Yeah.
After Shabbat.
I think my dad is probably a more character because he was really smart and weird. And it's like he was just chopped, right?
Yeah.
My mom's a little weird. For some reason she's named Annette after a baby. She's Annette Holland.
Annette what was her name? Holland. Can you remember that?
Because I forget. I mean, I'm really impressed.
We'll try.
Annette, yeah.
But you know what? Uncle Steve.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's big one.
Uncle Steve.
Oh, here's stuff.
My uncle might be the same age as your parents.
52 if you were born.
I mean, he's younger than my mom. My mom has 3 brothers. She's the oldest.
Oh, yeah.
So, 2 of her brothers went to private school, but my mom and the one that's just younger than her.
Oh, then
were
probably
both in Cheltenham.
Steve Lamb.
Yeah.
Like half my mom.
Yeah.
I know, look, you left me For you, I open this up.
What do you say, Ella?
I mean, you're old enough.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Technically,
This is the best way to know what it is.
Miss Hollis says it.
Oh. Cutting is really cool. And especially on Shabbat morning where there's like, there may be the eyes near you. Alright. So this is, I think we should have butter. But all of my kiddish requests go on eat it up. You must get rid of styrofoam cups. Millennial me is tragically sad. And now he's like, yes.
Are you trying to get
What do we have to do now? Just make it compostable?
compost?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have compost here in Madison. I can't even get us to just not buy styrofoam. Just buy, if you can buy compostable cups, they can buy them very styrofoam, lasts forever. It's like cockroach infections. But no.
So we always see you bike home.
Yeah, where do you live? I live right on the other side of Sainsbury.
And use the neighborhood
Yeah.
behind the fire station.
Yes.
Okay. Those roads.
loans and buildings.
We know people that live in
I live on Prairie Drive, so
I think the Keelish is good too.
Oh, it's like a loop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very close to Epstein. I used to live closer to Epstein than here.
Right.
Oh, like right.
And we used to live very close to it.
Oh, it's nice over there.
We live behind the alley.
You know the bank, like when you're riding your bicycle, you go through the intersection across the street from the fire.
Oh, yeah, the Santander.
The one that was set back.
Novus. So there was like,
There's
there's a path.
I discovered that one Shabbat, because I decided
That
to
was our
walk my
street.
dog the long way.
Yeah.
So I went down right, and then I went down right circle,
Okay.
and then I thought, oh, I'm about to have to go all the way back, please God, no, what's happening? And then I was like, ah!
God answered.
Yeah, we were on right, we lived on right.
We lived on that street.
That's
Yeah,
what
that's
it
really
was.
nice.
It was great.
No, we moved.
Emily was there now. Emily, she has two little kids, they come on Saturday morning. The clock.
You may know that.
I think she had, how old was the younger one? Do you know?
No, 3, maybe, 5, 8, 4, I don't know, I don't know what age.
I see her a lot.
Is she the one that?
She was always out and about.
Yeah.
Emily's fine, she's a therapist, so I think working a lot, she should be out and about.
I think I know who she is.
Where are you going there? Go to the boys' side?
Very cool, yeah.
Well, it was, I cannot believe that you're not.
Well, he was at altitude today, and then you know the new family that just moved here from Charleston, you heard about that?
Oh,
Last name is Black.
Black?
Not related to any of the blacks around
So
here.
many blacks, right there.
Right, Solomon and Asher are going to Epstein. And they were thinking of coming tonight because they thought the cookie thing was for this age. Yeah. So they're not gonna come because
I'll check.
Did you find Rabbi Kay and said?
Well, Rabbi Heller said it was like kindergarten, up to kindergarten.
yeah.
That's a
But
shame.
they're
But
thinking.
that makes me know we should do a cookie thing for all of it.
Yeah. It's just.
Yeah.
I mean, cookies, hot chocolate, a
Sushi.
movie. You could do Havdalah with a movie afterwards. That would be really cute.
Yeah,
We
like
don't have any good watching spaces. We could go
right there. It could be like people bring
In the
their
social
chairs.
hall.
It could be like third. It could be the third. It could be like third
We have a screen
to
projector.
second.
We have a projector.
It could be like third to second grade.
Is it big?
They're
Yeah,
all.
we will be projected it like on the
If you
wall.
do it on this.
We have a
You can
screen.
project it right there.
No, but that's too high.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is.
But don't you guys have a screen that comes down?
We do, we have a big projector in the social hall. Pictures of the social hall that we've never thought you'd wanna know. Or there's no way to control the lights in a reasonable way. It's either all on or all off. And it's like a cavernous room and you're about this machine going. It's not like you're watching a movie. It really only feels like a nice space when you have like a movie or something. Otherwise it's like.
Well, we're not.
That's it. That's why we're not doing projects.
Well, I just.
If you ever wanted to do a party in there, I think it only makes sense to bring to my 35 standards of aesthetic. If you like long lights, because the lighting is just okay.
We are getting.
Because of the lighting, our decorators told us to do it over here instead because of the lighting that they're gonna use. It gets lost in the other room.
Yeah.
They said in here it will not get lost.
And make sure all the lights all the lights on the top are gonna be off, and then it's only gonna be party.
Yeah, I mean, if you have regular party lights, it's a nice space, a lot of good space in here. I'm also just like a space snob. In my other vision of my life, I'm like a nerd. Or a surfer. I got a lot of aspirations.
I mean, I had the architect too. I built plans to do an addition to our house.
And
Did you do it?
No, it's gonna cost so much to do.
and the
Plus I didn't.
big part of
You
the
did?
lights on
Architect.
Yes.
Get that.
are the beginning.
In the big
So
room.
it's right
Sounds like
by
right
party.
behind us. Oh, yeah, you can put your party. The lights are off, but.
This is your last time putting a card in.
Yeah.
Can I trust you with my phone?
I'll go tell her to make sure that she. Jack, stop it!
Any last minute,
Stop it!
to consider for us, Bob, it's
Stop!
service.
Like
The tallest I'm knowing, there's Ephraim, is that right?
Big time, the synagogue?
Yes, and that's.
What do you sell synagogue?
They're going to use stores.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna do that.
It is a nice place.
Yeah. Maybe I should open the store.
Before my time, there was a store here.
I remember it's something school when I was little, all the snacks and all the little fishes, and we would go in there, every Tuesday was Monday before, and we would go buy snacks during our Sunday school break, and buy other little gadgets.
They should have just edited the story to be more relevant, not gotten rid of it. They got rid of it. And they went to the lounge.
Oh, that's for the lounge.
The lounge is not relevant.
Anybody use it? Yes, and it's, take a turn.
And it's windowless and the air, it is warm.
I'm gonna try to use it on Monday.
You
Right.
make it good for a concert. And now there's couches for long. Now there's. Today I saw someone sitting and reading in the little lobby furniture, which I've never seen anyone sitting in. Progress.
That looks like a, like this poster
Ellie, you're not allowed to.
that you see at work. Work hard, be empowered, and stuff, and then they have like people sitting there.
Oh, like the stock photo people.
Yeah, like that is like a perfect spot.
All the colors.
Yeah.
Showers is almost over, but I'm not looking at the clock. It's not 20, it's more.
It's 6:18. 2 minutes.
2 minutes, you really have it.
In 2 minutes, I'm gonna show her my pictures.
And actually, in theory, it's going to really help a bunch of people in their school been here to see what it's about. Let me check.
Hey guys, let's clean up, please.
Scary. Same.
Are you gonna get up and leave, Ellen?
What?
Are you gonna get up and leave?
No. Because I'm in the thick of it and everybody knows. They know me where it's so. Da da
Can I fix your hair?
da 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 da
Anybody on here?
da da. Hello. Now someone is.
Thank you, Ellen.
What is on this plate? That is just plain old water.
What is?
Whoa! What's on the plate? It looks like a sandwich.
Hi, we're still here.
All right, you guys.
Ellen's ready to leave.
No, I'm not.
That's the only song I can come up with.
Hey, how are you?
I'm home on a Friday night. What I do on Friday night, I was brought up Orthodox.
So tradition is to go up to 11 months, but the 11 months are your month.
I took the shortcut.
So in theory, once you get to 11 months,
Hi, how are you?
you put 6 college now because the your size probably. Remember that your size is you have it's about February 4th or 5th. But so passive, but it is not manual. Friends, good evening. We are going to turn to page 264 in the red prayer book. Please rise. You may be seated. Israel, page 265, the Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'kol 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 nafshecha v'kol me'otecha, ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'elah, asher anochi nitzavcha ya'om ha'levavecha, v'shinatan l'vanecha v'dibartecha, v'shivtecha v'deitecha, v'lemtecha b'derech, v'shoftecha v'umecha, Shartam Lavot Ayadecha, Yuzutapo Vininecha, Rutata, Zizabitecha, Yisharecha. Page 266. Adonai Elohim, amen. Umalkuta Bracham Kigolana Moshe Veshalakan Shiratim Parabhavyam Rukulam. Mi Amorcha Elim Adonai, Mi Amorcha Nehara Kodesh, Nemorati Lo Sekadam. Makuta Kavanah Kavanah Yinamru, Adonai Lo Kelavabe, Venemar Kinakov, Kugovasakam Israel. Page 267, we pray that God keep us safe from enemies, from violence, from disease. The bottom of 267. We're going to turn ahead to page 269, and if you're comfortable doing so, please rise for the half Kaddish. The Salat Amidah, pages 270 through 278, remembering the special paragraph at the end of Shabbat on page 272. You're still in your private prayer, please adjust as long as you need. Otherwise, please follow with me on page 279 as I recite the half touch. Amen. Page 279. The full cottage, page 280. Page 281. Tonight we are remembering Cindy Doherty, David Bruce, David Levy, Frankie Levy, Isabel Newman, Margaret Cottage, page 282. Thank you, everyone. We're going to do Havdalah and